Hey yo YouTube, I am here to continue talking about my D&D game, The Band of Titans. Where we left off, we just finished meeting with Rasputin. The DM asked us, do we do anything or is there anything we say before he leaves? Like, we say no. Uh, I asked, did they give us any kind of. I ask, or I say they never gave us a timeline, did they? And he says that they didn't really give us a timeline, but more or less, whenever Anastasia is ready to make a portal, she will do it. Um, so he says like an hour or two goes by, I believe 2 hours, and then Rasputin and Queen Anastasia show up with the entourage. Uh, Smite ends up asking, saying that like he has a few questions, and like she's like, "Well, this is the time to ask them." At first, he's like, "Our dragon riders, our dragon lords, dragon riders are actually dragons," and she says that they're dragon slayers, and then he says, "Is the Mistra that we're gonna go to?" A humanoid or a human realm, and like one of her guards, which is like this like looks kind of like a half black lady on the pic. She says that this Mistra and the Mistra we're from is pretty much the same, uh, with slight differences. Like some of the stuff in the years happened different. Like she talks about how when Chabla Lachu was founded, it was like 10 years ago in our world, but in this one it was 5 years ago. And for the most part, it's only little differences like that, or I guess only stuff about that big. But around 3 years ago, a calamity happened that never happened in our Mistra. And she says that our Mistra is 6.19 and the one we're going to is 6.18. And Craven ends up asking, like, what are the major differences between the two worlds? And she says, like, one of the trade deals that was with Harper's Holding, it wasn't them, it was like the Elven Union, something like. Uh, and they also tell us our target is in the city of Ebelchor. And they go over some of the years, like apparently Battle of Fort Scorpion was in 3440, where in the other world it was in 3444. And again, he says that like 3 years ago there was a calamity, pretty much just made destruction throughout the world. Apparently Chabala Chu was completely destroyed because it like really focused on places that had vortexes, and there was a really stable one in Chabala. And Velikavacia, although they didn't have a big stable one, since there were many of them there, apparently they took a big hit too. uh, Supposed to be like earthquakes, volcanoes, stuff like that. And it said that along with a lot of people dying in these catastrophes, there's reports of people disappearing. Um, Smite ends up asking Maravik, when did the outsiders, the Vatir, start appearing in our Mistra? Pretty much what the Band of Titans are, where they come from other worlds and they appear here before they're about to die. And she pretty much says around 3, 4 years ago, and she's kind of like, I get what you're getting at. Are you saying like things work different in different worlds? Smite says like maybe the gods can only place for in some worlds and pluck from others. And Maravik's like this is interesting theory. Like she's gonna pass it on to the Brothers of Knowledge when she gets a chance. She does say though that Vaetirs have been, according to the elves and dwarves, they have been coming here for hundreds or thousands of years, but it's been more prominent in the last 3 to 4. But they tell us that Daglin, the Kingdom of Gels, all both collapsed in this world, and that Plasia ended up pulling itself in and making themselves segregated. And we kind of go over what the mission is again, where we're trying to find Ruther Lockhart because he's the only proper heir. Smite and Hellfire ask to step aside before they leave. When he comes back, I have Hellfire cast Seam over him so he doesn't look like a hobgoblin, but he looks like Scott Steiner in armor and a patch with Mike Tyson tattoo. The DL tells me that watch out, I might get sued, and then brings up how like the Hangover, the artist tried to sue them. I asked the DM, uh, to be clear, we're going to be appearing in a city, and the DM kind of realizes that the city, whatever the city he named that he was talking about, I guess has been common over the last few years, but never since I've been playing. So he's like, "Oh, I forget you haven't been here for the last however long." It kind of says it's kind of like an Agrabah like city. But we go through the teleporter or whatever that Queen Anastasia makes. Uh, Also, they go over the thing where we're supposed to try and get the hags to ally ourselves with her too. Um, but we go through the thing. We end up coming out in an alley. I tell the DM that Basker uh, breaks his armor because he's able to shake it off, and he goes and does like a 2 block square perimeter, doing scent checks throughout it. Because we're told that he's probably in. Because I guess the queen could like visualize it. Uh, that he's probably in like an opium bar or something like that. So I say Basker's doing a scent check to try and smell an opium bar. Uh, the DM says I smell a few things, but eventually I smell one that seems promising, and I enter it. The DM sets up a map. Um, as a player, I can see the whole map, and I'm looking through, and I do see like there's like a white guy in the corner, but like I just have kind of Basker kind of come down, and I roll a scent check. I was gonna say like see if I smell anything different or anything that smells like dragon because he's supposed to be a dragon lord, and I end up rolling a 1. So I tell the DM, yeah, I like the opium smell. I can't smell nothing. So I head back and I tell the party, and the party comes back, and the DM places them on the map. So everyone except for Hellfire, I have Hellfire wait in the alley that we're in. Um, Enter this bar, or this opium, because like you see like a bunch of like I guess Arab looking people, and they have a bunch of like hookah things that are on the map, and none of us kind of realize that there's a bar that we walk by, so most of the group just kind of scatters. Smite being Hobgoblin, I have him just like kind of stand up against a wall, kind of looking around. Um, One of the NPCs, I want to say, sees him first, as like there's a white guy in the corner. Uh, and they tell I think they just tell Nina and Craven, or Nina might have been the one that, or not Nina, but Naomi might have been the one that sees it. And again, I want to say it was Maravik, Craven, and Naomi, where they approach the table, and the rest of the party just kind of hangs out. Like I know Seville's at the bar, ends up like taking some drink or shot of something, and there's like belly dancers and stuff. So I guess Aradina is paying attention to that because like I kind of have Smite standing near Aradina, and Basker's always near Aradina for the most part since she's his figure owner right now. So Craven and that group approach this table, and they start talking to him. And at first he says like if you don't mind or something like that, and we're given a scroll to give to him that's supposed to tell him the full terms of that he's asked to be a suitor to Queen Anastasia. And Craven asks like if he's Lockhart, and he's like kind of like who wants to know, and he's not saying that he is. Eventually, Craven just gives him the scroll, and he looks at it and he reads it and he hands it back, and he's like why me, why now, and and Craven starts saying something like something about like we needed you, or we came here because you could help us on this side, or he says something to that point, and like the guy's like, what? And eventually he looks at Maravik and he's like, Maravik, clear this. And Maravic's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And the more they talk, the more the DM realizes that Craven's player has no idea what the mission is. Like, uh, the DM kind of went through it twice. Apparently, both times they did not catch this story. I'm not that surprised about last week because I already thought he was asleep during the last, like, however long. But the DM ends up going over the mission again to him. Personally, if it was me, I wouldn't have did it. I would have, like, I get when it's session to session when you say, my character would have remembered, because yeah, a character would remember, because first of all, it is in a week apart, and then also like their live experience in it. But to be like my character would have paid attention, like I can't buy that one. If the player ain't paying attention, the character isn't either. And then once when Craven's players filled in and what he's supposed to do, he just kind of really gives a generic answer, like pretty much repeats what the DM just said. Like you have the your kin folks don't have an heir that's the right age or isn't already wedded. And Craven ends up ordering a drink and I guess another big bit of their opium. I don't remember if Craven takes a hit of the opium or not. I definitely know I know he starts drinking wine, but as they're sitting there, the DM says that Nina or Naomi Craven and uh, and Lockhart end up taking damage. Like the people around them start attacking them. And the DM tells us to roll initiative and let's old school DSP. So initiative starts off with Craven, Smite, Naomi, Basker, looks like Maravik, Eridina, that's Lockhart, uh, Seville, I want to say that's the mob right there, and Father Keenan. Now at the start, all these look just like these pics right here. Some of them were belly dancers, uh, and they were sitting around Lockhart here. Uh, Craven and them were here too. I want to say that's a picture of the belly dancer before. But at first, there's a bunch of people sitting around here, and the first round, we don't really know who's attacking and who is. And at the start, Smite's like here, Eridina is like not far away, and the same thing with Basker. Um, I want to say Seville and the rest are around where they are now. Uh, so Smite for his round, he ends up holding because he wants to see who's fighting and who isn't. Uh, and then at the end of that round, once because like I'm kind of worried or thinking that maybe this person might be a foe and they might get attack of opportunity when I go by. Seville, I know, and Eridina are also around this area too, and they start doing their missile attacks. Uh, Smite only has like 20 movement, so like the first one he does a full, like the second one I think he does a half, and uh, and then does Righteous Might, which is why he's large. Um, Things that happen with other players, I know that like Craven's first round because he had what he had on his power attack. Like he missed all of them and had to lower what he was using for power attack. Like I think they had like a 26. He was rolling the highest he rolled was a 25. But eventually, the people that are attacking us start changing into these like I think the DM described them as kind of like gel gooey like. Later on, we do find out that they were constructs, which Smite should have got a plus whenever he hit him, but he only ends up getting like one attack through the whole fight. And I know that Craven ends up doing his breath weapon on these two, and I want to say like the next round, Smite does a flaming strike on the same two. I know they fail Cravens, they pass Smites. Um, Nina is like right, or Naomi is like right there. Or I want to say, no, she's like right here fighting these two. Like at one point, she does a thing that hits both of them. Uh, like Craven's a decent character, but Naomi's the one that's OP out of the two of them. Like in my opinion, Naomi's way more dangerous than Craven. Uh, like eventually Smite gets there, ends up only getting one hit off of this one. I think Basker kills that one because Basker's here for most of the time. Uh, Here and I think there are the next square. Uh, and I know that Craven gets the last kill. And then after that, we decide to all I'll take off out of there before the cops show up or the local guards show up, and Lionheart, because there was just assassination attempt on himself, feels like he has no choice but pursuit marriage. Ruther does say that they were what's called unstable, the primary soldiers of the Viamos. Uh, we travel back to the alley. Um, Queen Anastasia is like waiting through like the teleporter thing. She has it like partially opened up. She pretty much says that she opens it up more, and she says that on her own we're gonna have to figure out how to get counsel with Chazi Baba and get the hags to ally themselves with her, and the information that we need to get on our own. Again, it's kind of, you can tell that Craven's player doesn't really know what's going on. At one point, he asks like, "We're supposed to go talk to Bobby Yaga," and he's like, "We're like, no," and he claims that the DM cut out, but I think he was just uh, swerving the truth a little. Um, but that's where the DM ends up cutting it off. Future predictions. Uh, we're gonna go through this. I'm probably gonna request for Smite and for Hellfire to take lead on talking to the hags, uh, for multiple reasons. And maybe it'll go well, maybe it won't. We'll see. Unfortunately, I don't know when our next session is gonna be. Like our things don't line up for the next few weeks. I still do have a game with Hyde and like tomorrow. That's kind of why this one's being rushed on recorded. Um, but you want to know at least that one, check it out in the next however long. And you want to figure out everything I'm talking about, watch all my stuff and check you later.